Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning into Legatum Gaming, and today I'm going to show you my MDR build, which consists of 4 striker gear pieces, savage gloves, and a reckless chest piece. Alright, so let's get straight into it. Normally in my builds, my build videos, I show quite a lot of like PvP action toward the end, just to get you guys a little sense of feeling about what the build's about and what it can get up to. But today I'm going to try and focus solely on the build itself, just to give you guys a little bit of a chance to sort of get into it and possibly ask any questions if you need to. So if you do have any queries with the build, then drop a comment. Alright, let's get into it. So, 4 striker, reckless, and savage. Alright, let's start with my MDR. 19% enemy armor damage, which is pretty decent. It could get a little higher, but I'm pretty much maxed out on enemy armor damage, and I'll show you why and how I get that. Show you that as we go through the build and the final stat towards the end. Alright, so the overall sort of the big question everyone's going to be saying is, okay, what talents you running on it? So I'm running Brutal, which is kind of standard for a weapon like this, same as if you're running anything else like a M7 Carbon or SVD or something like that. So Brutal, Prepared, and Distracted. Now Distracted you can't change because that's weapon specific to the MDR, which is damage is increased by 18% against targets with a status effect. So the idea of that is you want to give them the status effect to get that extra 18% in a nutshell. Then running Prepared with it, which actually came with the gun, which I'm really pleased with. So damage is increased by 15% when more than 30 meters from the target. Now that's pretty much perfect for the MDR because the idea is you're not going to be up close 1v1ing. You're going to have a little distance and you're going to try and take them off, ideally in a group, so you have a little bit of cover. Alternatively, you can melt people in a one-on-one. It's just this talent doesn't come into use as such if you're obviously closer than 30 meters from the target. Alright, so they're kind of the talents I got on the weapon. Let me show you what I'm running it with. Alright, so the scope. Let's get straight into that. Obviously got to have the headshot damage as the major. So running headshot damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage. Magazine, these are nothing special. It's kind of the things that you'd expect on a weapon. So magazine size, crit hit chance, and rate of fire. Now I could get rid of the rate of fire and maybe put like crit hit chance and crit hit damage, but by doing that you sort of bump up the RPM by like another 18 rounds per minute, which it does helps massively, especially considering you're going to want to keep popping that off whether you're playing on your computer and you're using your mouse, or you're using your R2, or you're using the back analog of the Xbox controller. So you do want a little bit extra rate of fire. My grip, I'm using crit hit damage, optimal range, and accuracy. So accuracy, it's pretty accurate weapon, and the optimal range I'm just putting in there just to get a little bit extra distance if we're having like a sniper match. Reload speed maybe, but as you can see the magazine's 42 in it, so you don't really ever have a problem with reloading. 42 rounds in a clip is pretty good, especially for like a sniper type weapon. And then of course going into the suppressor, you want headshot damage as your major. That has to be done. And then crit hit damage and crit hit chance. So there's nothing too special on there. It's the sort of things that you would expect. Alright, I'm getting into the chest piece. I'm running it with Reckless, which is rolled to firearms, enemy armor damage, health, and ammo capacity. So it's almost like a god roll chest piece for me right there. I could get a little higher in enemy armor damage, but it's okay as it is. Alternatively, if you're running maybe like the DZ or you're a pretty close-knit group and you're kind of running last stand, you might want to run a vigorous piece with that. So as you can see, it doesn't give me too much difference there. It's just a little extra toughness for me, but it depends if you're running with a healer or not. It doesn't matter too much. Firearms. Let's just cut it a little bit short here. So everything I have is rolled to firearms, just to save you guys a little bit of time. And everything is also rolled to first aid self-heal. So you're going to want that. Okay, going on to the Striker's Mask. Roll 2 firearms, enemy armor damage 8%, and minor is damage to elites, which is pretty okay, you know. It's not too bad. I would prefer maybe some sort of like resistance in that, which might be a little bit better, but it's okay as is. Going into the knee pads, again, firearms, health is the major attribute, and then the minors, that's pretty decent. I would prefer to take damage to elites out, and maybe have like shock or burn resistance in there, maybe take away like blind or deaf. So I'm still working on getting a little bit better knee pads, but I'm pretty happy with the health and the firearms rolls on that. Go into the holster, firearms 1260, and then health is a major attribute. Now I could roll that, maybe like reload speed or crit hit chance or something like that, but I feel health is, I feel I would benefit better from health. Now again, you can make tweaks here and where you want. Maybe running crit hit chance could be a viable option here, so it's kind of up to you guys and how you want to play with that. And onto my Savage Gloves, again, firearms with crit hit chance, enemy armor damage, and crit hit damage. So if you guys watch my previous couple of videos, you notice that a lot of the time I spec into enemy armor damage just so you can get straight through that and sort of hit into their toughness or stamina pretty easy. And that's just the way I play again. A lot of these things you might want to make some simple changes to. So you could take out enemy armor damage and maybe run it with like assault rifle damage, but it doesn't stack up too much. Like if you get like 1300 enemy armor damage, it's not gonna make too much difference. You see here I got 61.2, you know, it's only gonna be like 60 or like late 59, so it doesn't matter too much around that. So I just prefer the enemy armor damage. I find this stat a lot better than like 1500 or 2000 assault rifle damage. Then into the backpack, Strikers, again, firearms with health and ammo capacity. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's kind of like my build as an overall. My secondary weapon, my sort of pistol, I'm not even going to go into that. You know, who runs that, who even uses that. So character. My weapon damage, 61,190. My crit hit chance, 14%. Crit hit damage 69 and headshot damage 143. Now I've tried this build with Sentry also, and actually what it does is it reduces my weapon damage by 8,000 and increases my headshot damage by 10%, so it's actually 153. So it could work. Now obviously if you do stack up your shots with Sentry, your weapon damage could be a little higher, but I prefer the consistency with Striker by marking them to get consecutive shots. I just prefer that. Again, it's up to you guys kind of what you use, but I find this build a lot better with Striker. That's 100%. Okay, enemy armor damage. Here we're at 49%. For 49% of my shots are going straight into their armor, busting through it, and then we're going to get some core stats coming right out of there. My other stats, again, you know, nothing too special over here. My armor's at 31.5%, and then just the standard things. You don't really want to see these. The talents I'm running on this is I'm running the booster shot and I'm running the disruptor. Now I've been trying it different ways. I've been trying it with the flame turret just to try and get the status effect on them, but for mobility I prefer the disruptor. However, for efficiency I prefer the flame turret. So, you know, kind of like someone's pushing you or something like that, and they're pretty tanky. The disruptor isn't going to knock them down. However, the flame turret will sort of affect their health a little bit, whereas the disruptor, all that does is literally gives them the disrupt effect. Now it does stagger them a small proportion, which they will have to use a medkit. However, the problem with this is once they use a medkit, the disruptor is totally worthless, if you like. So it's a bit of a gamble running the disruptor, but if they don't use a medkit, you can get some serious damage on them. However, I would try it first with the Dragon Breath. Now I do alternate, but just as a personal preference, I do prefer the disruptor. The Dragon Breath is more consistent in terms of where you can place it and where you can kind of like run around, so I just prefer that. specials, I'm just running the recovery link. That's just the way I run it. Running tactical link is pretty worthless with the MDR. And then the blue, it's just not strong. Ever since they took it away, it's just nobody really uses that too much anymore. Talents I'm running in it is critical save, tactical advance, on the move, and one is none. Now again, depending on your team, depending if you're running solo, you can change these up. So if I'm running in a team, I will always put combat medicon, and that's just a 100%. You have to do that just to support your team. And then again, if you have a healer in your team, I would take out one is none. I'm running triage just to keep them kind of like popping their health, getting it back. So they are my talents. However, for the purpose of this build, I'm not running in a team and I'm running solo. So just to show you guys kind of like what it's about. All right, so let's get straight into sort of showing you guys some of the damage that this can do. So I'm aiming him right now. That's 150, 151, 152. 195 is a crit, and that 195 is a crit. Let me pop my booster for you guys. 220, 230, 242, 252. You guys see that? 252. So if I'm using my booster and I'm getting a crit, that's 252,000 damage I'm popping at these guys. And then without the booster on the cooldown, I'm just shooting them in the head. 170, 170, 170, 170, 170. So as you guys can see, the standard damage to a headshot is 180,000. That's the damage this build can do. That's without striker, without stacking. That's without the talents in terms of the status effect. That's without anything adding up. This is just core base damage, and that's 172, 160 as an average. 220 there is a crit. You guys can see the sort of damage that this build can do. Alright, so I hope you guys sort of like this build. I'm going to show you a little bit of PvP. Like I said, I wanted to focus a little bit more on the build, just to kind of go through it with you guys, show you guys how I do it. However, like I said, I'm just going to throw in a little bit of PvP, just sort of let you guys see how the build does. So if you liked it, please hit subscribe. Please drop a comment, and please hit like. If you have any questions, I'm always here to chat, and please check out my other 2 videos. Hope you guys enjoy it. Take care.
Taking Alpha.